my name is Alina. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I was a really good family friend of Joel Jijo's. So how I met Joel was whenever his family was first moving to Houston from London. My dad and his dad were really good classmates back in the day, so they naturally just came over to our house, and so we were introduced. And so I was like in elementary school. And I just remember him having like a British accent, and so we would always call them like, oh, the British kids are coming, because they were from England. And then they came to Houston. I know they were in Pasadena for a while, but the majority of the time they were in Houston. Also, whenever there were like hurricanes or anything like that, our families would evacuate together, just because we didn't have too much close family in Houston. So we considered them like our own family. And so whenever like Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Rita, all those like hurricanes happened, we would either go to their house or they would come to our house. And I remember like days of us sitting in the dark, kind of waiting for the power to come on. And then the kids, of course, we didn't understand what was going on, so we would just be playing games or like complaining how like the AC is out and it's like so hot. And so yeah, I kind of grew up with Joel and Joel's whole family. I was literally there like whenever Appu was born. I just remember seeing him like coming home and growing up to the person he is today. Laila auntie and Jijo uncle, I consider them my own like parents, just because we see them all the time. We see them at least like once or twice a week, whether it's me dropping off like food for them, or they're like dropping off something here. My mom just went through a lot of surgeries earlier in the summer, so we always had like Jared and Joel or someone just dropping off food and just be like, hey, make sure your mom is feeling better and this and that. And so that was my introduction, and also how I knew them. We were just really good family friends. One thing that I always think about is for Thanksgiving, they would come to our house, and for Christmas, we would go over to their house. And I don't know when this happened, but the parents decided they didn't want to make Thanksgiving food anymore. They thought it was, it's time to pass it on to the kids. So me and Joel, us being like the oldest in our family, we would be organized to cook everything. So I remember the week of Thanksgiving, we would text each other like, hey, what stuff do you need from the grocery store? And then on Thanksgiving Day, he would come over, and then, I would give him like all the meats and stuff. I'm like, take care of the turkey and ham. I'll take care of like the sides. And I don't usually cook with a lot of people. I don't like when other people are in the kitchen with me. So he was kind of like had a special place. I was like, okay, you can come in, because, it's Joel. And so, Joel is like the trustworthy, like parental kind of figure. And so it was always just kind of like special. Another thing that I always think about is the fact that, sometimes my parents would be like, oh, Alina, Kevin, like come to Malayalam Mass. And of course we would be like hesitant. We would be like, oh, we would rather just go to English Mass, it's closer, we understand it, this and that. But my parents would really put a focus on like, oh, it's the parish, like it's our parish. You have to come, and, you have to like be involved in the community. And of course we would complain. We'd be like, it's so long, now I have to wear a churidar, this and that. But the silver lining was just like, oh, okay, well, at least I know like Joel's there, because Joel's always going to be there. Joel was very thorough and very involved in church. He was a huge believer of Christ. He's very religious. I remember him traveling to different retreats. He would go to different states just to go attend different retreats, be part of, partake in some retreats. I feel like he for sure helped me with my own faith. I would usually go to daily mass at St. Lawrence at 12 o'clock. They have daily mass like Monday through Friday. And it's like St. Lawrence is just like a church kind of close to our house. And so I would just go just because, originally it's because my mom was making me go, so I would just go. And then I would always see him there, and he would either be by himself or sometimes he would be with his family. And, you know, we would always make faces at each other, like, whenever we saw each other, like, I would make, like, a silly face at him, like, oh, like, trying to make him laugh, just because, you know, we're in the same proximity, so just like, oh, ha, 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 you know, just joking around and stuff like that. But he definitely made church fun. He was, since he was younger, he made church very relatable, and, whenever I was feeling, you know, in doubts or anything, he was definitely someone I would go to talk to, because he had a very, very strong hold of faith and religion. So on May 29th, when I found out that he was missing, at first I couldn't believe it, because I was just like, are you sure it's Joel Jijo? Like, he's like, you know, like the responsible kid. Like, I think it's like some other kid. But then my brother was like, no, like, we have to go. And so, he and his friends were at Canyon Lake. And so his family at the time was in Dallas attending a graduation. And so my family kind of jumped in and was just like, we need to go right now. So all of us got into a car. We just packed some clothes for like a couple days, maybe had our wallets, maybe had like a toothbrush, and we drove over. And the wait was really hard. It was really hard because just knowing how smart and responsible he was, it was just really confusing that this could even happen. And then, of course, seeing Lila and Jijo uncle, like Apu, Jaren, it was just very hard on all of us. But the silver lining and everything is that I'm very glad that his family has a lot of loved ones, and they have a lot of support coming their way. I'm very glad that Jesus blessed them with such abundant people that are so quick to rush to their side and help them during a tragedy. And I just want to say, like, of course, you know, death is really hard, and it's still something I'm still working through, because I still can't grasp the idea that one of my like childhood friends like had such a tragic incident and passed away so abruptly. But I do think the memorial and the burial and everything that was held, I think the ceremonies were so beautiful. I got to meet some of his friends, some of them from Anointing Fire. I met a lot of people that he's close with, and I can really see that he was surrounded by people that loved him. And I'm just glad he was able to live a life around people that loved him. And moving forward, I can say that I definitely was a witness of his life. I saw firsthand how his faith and his trust in God really opened pathways for him. And moving forward, all I can do is pray for him, pray for his family, and live like Joel and be the kind of person that Joel was, and giving back to my community, being more involved in church, checking up on my friends, making sure that they know that I love them a lot. And that's all we can hope for right now. May he rest in peace, and may we continue remembering him.